Welcome to Talk Ottumwa, a production of Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress. On this podcast, we'll talk about the local businesses in Ottumwa to give you the backstory to their success. We'll also talk about the economic initiatives that are driving the progress of the community. And we'll talk about the issues that the community faces and much more. So stick around and let's talk Ottumwa. Hey everyone, and welcome to Talk Ottumwa. I'm joined in the studio today by a man that probably needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. A former Ottumwa City Council member, current chair of the Wapello County Board of Supervisors, Ottumwa Oktoberfest committee member, vice chair of the Southeast Iowa Sports Commission, and probably 30 or 40 other titles, Brian Morgan. Welcome to the studio, Brian.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you.
So what we're here to talk about today is a project that's been going on for quite some time in the city of Ottumwa, and it looks like it's getting fairly close to coming to fruition, the sports complex. So just talking in generalities, when did this concept actually start?
Well, I think it's always good to start from the beginning, and I can tell you, and people always kind of their eyes bulge out when I say it, but the first meeting I went to of any type of sports complex facility, anything of this nature in Ottumwa was about 2002 down at the city garage. I was involved with a Little League here in town, and at that time there was talk about the casino possibly coming in and everything that it could bring. And like everything else, it kind of fades and bogs down. Of course, the casino stuff didn't happen. Fast forward about another 7 or 8 years, same thing again. And then in about 2019, TJ came to us at the Board of Supervisors office and said, hey, I'd really like to fund this study just to see what we need. Because, of course, everyone's saying we need this and we need this. And study was about $25,000, and he was trying to get some different community members to throw some money in, and we seen the value in this, so at that point we just said we'll fund the study itself, and that's actually led us to this point here to where I think us even as a small group to getting this going really was looking probably more of the outdoor facility things, but as the study broke everything down, it really showed what was lacking, not just in Ottumwa, but in Southeast Iowa and in our region, and that's an indoor facility that covers things like basketball, volleyball, soccer, things of that nature.
Okay. So not too long ago, you made a presentation at the Ottumwa City Council meeting, and you gave a pretty impassioned speech as to why the community needed it. And I think that's probably something, a lot of people probably didn't hear the City Council meeting to hear your speech. I know that's hard to believe, but can you just reiterate the importance of that to the Ottumwa and Wapello County areas?
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, as you try to sell the project or explain the project, sometimes, you learn different things of what you need to talk about and how it impacts people, and I think that's the biggest thing with it is, we could say all day that this is for our kids, and it absolutely is for our kids, but this is for our town, for our county, for our area, and I have personally gassed up my car and drove to Indianola every Sunday for a couple months at a time for my daughter to go play in a basketball league. There's people doing it right now going up to Williamsburg. The fact that I go and fill that car up and then drive to Indianola to go to the games, and then what do we do before we leave there? We go eat because we're starving. And there's an A&W there. But it was really one of those that really hit me. It's like, why are we spending our money, giving our money to other communities when we absolutely can do this here? We can keep these dollars right here in town, our dollars, my dollars, and then those other people that we see on that Sunday, we capture some of them, people coming out of northern Missouri. So I think the economic impact of it's what we do now as adults. We follow our kids. If you have kids, you do what your kids are doing, and right now that's the youth sports and the activities.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the things that people really miss out on when they're talking about, economic development in a community is those quality of life attractions and how those quality of life attractions actually do impact the business community in ways that, you might not exactly think of, the restaurant traffic, the hotel traffic, buying gas at the gas station. That's really an important consideration.
And, with these, the challenge is always if you're going to a tournament, especially a 2-day tournament, do you drive back home? Do you stay the night? Got a group of people that's in Des Moines this weekend and they're staying the night. So how does that then affect us, those people? And we always hear, we've heard it for however long we've been in elected office, that they go to our gas stations, they go to our restaurants, this and that, whatever. I think it goes a lot deeper than that. And as I spoke to a group yesterday, I explained how it all really kind of fits into the niche and how it affects the taxpayer. So yes, we've gained that local option sales tax, but if we're putting heads in the beds, as we like to call it with our Meet Ottumwa group, you're gaining those hotel motel taxes. And what funds, what do we pay for out of hotel motel taxes? We pay for our Convention Visitors Bureau. We pay for Bridgeview Center. I think some of it goes to the beach out of that. So every dollar more that we can put in that is a dollar that if there's a shortfall or when there's a shortfall at Bridgeview or the beach, that's one less dollar we have to use general fund dollars for to cover that. So it does impact the taxpayer on their property tax bill.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, looking as a progressive community, looking 5 years down the road, is we're trying to attract new business into the community and in fact, new people into the community. This is one of those things that we can say, hey, here's an amenity that the city of Ottumwa has that not a lot of places around us do have. So if they are bringing a young family into the community, this is actually a good thing for them to be able to make their decision on where they're going to call home, because we do have things like a sports complex,
water park,
civic center, yes,
things of that nature. And I think just the whole synergy of that area with the hotel being built, and there's discussion today on that, and we'll kind of get a little off topic, but do we need that hotel? Yes, we absolutely need the hotel. I was one of the people that said, I don't know if we need it. The Babe Ruth World Series coming to town last year, to me, really opened my eyes and changed my opinion of good quality hotel rooms. When we're talking about putting our best foot forward and welcoming people into our community and where they're staying, that's a key thing. So, the Hampton Inn, the Holiday Inn Express, they're full. They're full a lot of times. Monday through Thursday, I think they're like 90% capacity. So, to get those extra rooms and then help grow Bridgeview, and hopefully that helps people make their determination on whether they're staying the night or not. Hey, we can, Billy's got 2 hours in between games, so a little brother that's running around, we're packing his swim trunks. We're going to pay $5, $6, $7 to take him to the beach and let him swim for 2 hours. And it all works in together. That night, maybe John Conley's playing, and hell, let's just stay for the show or whatever it may be. So I think it really all goes hand in hand. And I think that area and the improvements made in downtown Ottumwa, and I know there's a plan for Church Street and the retail district out around Quincy and the Walmart area, Menards area out there. I'm, as you can generally tell, I'm pretty excited about the possibilities, not just for the sports complex, but the growth around the complex.
So speaking of that, you did mention the area that this is going to impact. That has been one of the questions that a lot of people around Ottumwa have asked, is where exactly is this facility going to go, and how is it going to be connected to the beach and Sycamore Park area?
Sure. It is in Sycamore Park. We when we started the process, we looked at a few sites. One of them we looked at was the Target building, and lo and behold, as it sat empty for 3 years or 4 years, as soon as we started looking at it, it got snatched up, which is great.
That's always a good thing.
It's on the tax rolls. There's some stuff going in there, and I think there's always other possibilities there. But we looked at that. We looked at some land in the county, something maybe closer to the 4-lane. Some areas are doing that, and pushing that growth out into the county, closer to their bypasses. And ultimately, what we came down to was the Sycamore Park area. And it won't be attached to the beach, but it'll be right next to the beach. As far as taking out trees, it's Ottumwa. We're a tree city. There will be a few trees taken out. By the plans, right now it's about 4 trees. So, I don't think we're going to ruin the aesthetic of, Sycamore Park as far as removing the trees. And I promise if we need to, we can plant more trees as well. But, I would love to see that Sycamore Park area really developed into an actual park, because it's pretty swampy in there. Kids playing soccer or t-ball or whatever. So yeah, I really, after we did it and we sat down and we looked at it, and again, the synergy is a word we like to use with it. It just works perfect and fits perfect right in there in the plans for the park system in Ottumwa right now.
Well, and I think that one of the other advantages to having it in that area specifically, not only its relative proximity to the park, to Bridgeview Center, to the beach, but one of the things that almost has had a bad connotation in Ottumwa for pretty much the existence of the city, but really is one of the gems of the community. We just really haven't taken advantage of it to this point, is the river that's running right through the middle of town. There's been a lot of talk, over the past few years. The Legacy Foundation had started a project probably 7 or 8 years ago at this point, the Riverfront Renaissance, and that kind of got shelved for a little while. But, with Main Street and Church Street, this whole development here, this really starts to set the stage to really take advantage of utilizing the Des Moines River through the middle of town as a central point of gathering for people in the community, and make the river something that we can actually be proud of in the town, instead of something that people go, oh yeah, it's just the river.
Right. 100%. And that's been, for as long as I can remember, that's been talk. The people that's here, we're proud of the river too. It separates us, but I think it brings us together. And I think anything we can do, as you said, to tie any type of recreation, hotels, restaurants, anything that shows the river, it's actually kind of nice, especially, pelicans down there now and eagles in the winter. You're 100% right. It's totally underutilized.
So when do you expect this project to actually be completed?
Our goal is about a year from right now, about the beginning of April.
Now, is that to break ground?
That's to break ground, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Right now, we're setting at about $6.3 million raised. Our goals are right around $9 million. So we're about $2.5 million short. So we're setting up, getting a fundraising committee set up. Myself and Holly Berg set on a webinar last week that state ARPA funds. We're going into a grant, a Destination Iowa grant. And, one of the grants that was broken down into, I think had like $30 million available, is the project must be a $10 million project and has to be shovel ready and have 60% of the funds already in place. We're there. And I don't think we're probably going to find a lot of other communities around Iowa that's ready to go like we are for this project. So, we're very optimistic that we can lay this out and maybe tie some other things in to that area with this grant to help. So, we're optimistic we may be able to get a couple $1 million out of that. So if that hits, then we're good. We'll still continue the fundraising because it's been very, very supportive of this. I think the biggest issue that we've had in me talking to people, and someone used the phrase the other day, and it as well as I do from our time being in the community, is hope fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And, this projects like this have been thrown out. There's been conceptual drawings and, the different things that's splashed across the front page of the Courier once every 2 years or so. And then people get excited and then there's nothing. And it's just convincing people that we're going to make this project happen. This is as close as we've ever been, and we're going to see it through.
Speaking of that, with the funding piece of it, let's talk about the ongoing funding. You know, a lot of the conversation that has been across social media platforms and has been raised in council meetings, I'm sure it's been raised in supervisor meetings as well, is the ongoing funding piece of this. There's a fear that taxpayer dollars will be used to fund this project into the future. So can you speak to that just a little bit?
Yep. One of the first things we done was set up a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit entity. Through everything, and again, you can do all the studies in the world, but you have to follow through with those as well. So we've developed a plan, and we've got in our funding, in what we are trying to raise, we're actually raising a contingency fund, more or less, that we can put away, because we know the first few years of this is going to lose money. We don't want to put our backs against the wall and put a shovel on the ground before we're ready to, and then at a year and a half, then we're going, oh my God, what do we do? So we have built that into our fundraising plans. We will hire a group to run the facility, somewhat like a venue works at Bridgeview Center, except they will specialize in these projects, in these facilities. And as we sit here and talked all day, you can say all day, we're going to bring this into Ottumwa. We're going to bring these tournaments in. We're going to bring this in. Unless you have someone there that is doing that every day, that is organizing those, that's reaching out, that's sending emails, that's putting a 10U basketball camp together, or a 12U volleyball tournament together, you're not going to do it. Ottumwa has really good facilities right now. Whether people want to really admit it or not, what it comes down to is having the person that will organize the events, like's being done in Oski at the outdoor stuff. So that's one there. It has to be ran as a business, because we're not an entity that's tied to the city or the county or the school district that can come to you guys and say, hey, we need this money to keep it going. You owe us this, or, this is in our contract. There's absolutely nothing in that. There's nothing that ties to it that says the building has to remain open for a certain amount of time or anything, along those lines. So we have to make it work. It's a business. It's the same as someone else coming in and putting coals out west. It's got to make it.
How many people do you expect to be employed through this sports complex?
There'll be roughly 2 full-time people. There'll be a marketing director. There'll be a general manager of the facility. And then there'll be several part-time positions. A lot of those will be college-age, high school-age kids, not counting, your different referees and things like that you're going to have for your basketball tournaments or things of that nature. So really it'll only be a couple full-time jobs, but then it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 10 to 12 part-time jobs, concession stand workers, getting the nets set up for this that's coming in or whatever.
Okay, great. So switching gears just a little bit, you mentioned some of the other facilities here in town, and one of the concerns that I've personally heard about is what kind of damage might this do to places like the YMCA, for example. So have you had that conversation with your committee, with the YMCA, as to how this is going to affect the business that they currently have?
Yeah. It actually, from the very beginning of the study, the Y was involved with it when Tom Sisler was here, and the other kid that was kind of the programming director, and his name escapes me now. But we had meetings with them, and actually when we did the rollout of the study, they were there for it. And they were a big piece of it as far as what do we need to stay away from. We're not going to put a fitness center in there. So there's not going to be treadmills and weights and everything like that. And that's really a big part of the why is that area. Youth programming that the Y depends on for T-ball leagues or flag football leagues, things like that. Those are programming things we'll stay away from. So really we have met with the Y here probably about 4 months ago. We went and met with their entire board and just made sure we were still, because there's, of course, changes in all organizations. So made sure we were on the same page with them and that they understood that we're not coming after you. We're not trying to shut you down. We're going to work together with you. And ultimately, I think we could really complement the Y on some of those things that they've outgrown, that they don't have room to totally do this that they want to do, that they can rent space from us, or, and we're going to be sure to work with groups like the Y, because ultimately when it comes to that, it is about the kids.
Yeah. So where can somebody get information if there are further questions that people have? Where can they get that information?
You can go to www.ottumwasportsplex.com. You can email questions to ottumwasportsplex@gmail.com or Facebook Messenger if you want to go that route on it. We have a P.O. box if you want to send a letter, but I don't think people do that anymore.
I don't think so.
I think we have the P.O. box for bills.
Yeah, I think those folks definitely still use the P.O. box.
Yeah, and as always, people can reach out to me, Brian Morgan, County Supervisor, 777-5107. I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you if you have a group that that has questions or interested in helping. And as I said, we put together a fundraising group. If anyone out there is interested in getting involved, I think this is a good, fun project that we're going to need some help on, and some grassroots asking from the common folks of Ottumwa.
And probably the most important question, because it sounds like that we're not quite there yet. If people do want to donate to this cause, how do they do that? Just going through those same avenues?
Yep, going through those same avenues. Again, we'll have on our website the fundraising committee. They can absolutely always reach out to someone like that. There's going to be some advertising opportunities, naming rights of the courts or the scoreboards or things like that for businesses. And I think we really kind of have maybe something for everyone. Maybe you can't spend $250,000 to sponsor the track, but you could do $2,000 a year over 5 years to do a scoreboard or something along those lines. So we got all that laid out as well. So, and the P.O. box is great if you just want to send a check. Maybe it's not just for bills.
Oh,
so
great option.
P.O. box 1848, Ottumwa, Iowa 52501.
Well, thanks for coming in today, Brian. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Brian or anybody on the committee. And I know I'm, for one, excited about the possibility of this coming to town, and I think that it's going to be great for the community. So awesome. If anybody has any questions, please reach out. And again, thanks for listening to Talk Ottumwa.